Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the season premiere of Rick and Morty, Mort Dinner, Rick Andre. And I really enjoyed this episode. I had been seeing what the trailers were for this season, and it has an interesting kind of feel to it, and I was wondering how this season was going to kind of go. Now, granted, we only have this one episode at this moment, but I really kind of liked how we technically got three things going on at once, and we had a good amount of a focus on Morty and him dealing with a fucking insane kind of issue that was going on, but we see how he's trying to be kind of like Morty, but also what his grandpa's taught him and what's kind of going on. So, we begin and we see that they're both kind of fucked up and trying to escape a death situation, while also referencing that we see this crystal showing them in a dimension where they're both like Blade. That was a funny kind of little thing. I'm like, okay, that's a little thing. But they're pretty much like gonna die. They're able to kind of like escape before getting like destroyed by this monster thing. But they really have like a Morty's got the steering wheel kind of like broken out, and it's kind of like flaming out as they're going into the Earth's atmosphere. And he decides to call Jessica, and is pretty much like trying to make peace with his death while also confessing pretty much his feelings to Jessica. She's like, "Oh yeah, you want to watch a movie?" He's like, sure, yeah, I'm free tonight." And he's able to kind of like save them. They kind of bounce off of this one thing and kind of land in the ocean. And Rick's like, "Are we in the ocean? Fuck Morty, why are we in the ocean?" And then up pops his supposed nemesis, Mr. Nimbus, who's kind of like Namor from the MCU, kind of like King of the Seas and everything. So now Rick's kind of have to deal with that. So they're both dealing with their different plans. We see that Rick is pretty much trying to negotiate this truce for this dude. Morty's pretty much trying to get ready for Jessica and see what they can kind of do. And we see that Rick has this like whale wine that he's trying to give to Mr. Nimbus, and that he uses essentially a portal dimension that's kind of like the Chronicles of Narnia that Morty kind of calls him out on. It's like, yeah, it's like Chronicles of Narnia. And they put it in there for it to pretty much age for a little bit, and then they like go in and come back and all that kind of shit. He tries to get himself set up with Jessica as she comes over, and Mr. Nimbus comes in and is like, yeah, I got this. And Jerry at first tries to call the cops on the dude. He's like, fuck it, do it. And they do, but evidently Mr. Nimbus has the power to control the cops by like gyrating his like penis and kind of shit. He's like, yeah, do this. He's like, gets him to pretty much get ready to fuck. But then he like tells him to flee. It's like, oh, okay. That's an interesting kind of scenario going on there. Jessica's like, what the fuck's going on here? Morty just like gets her in. This one kind of like starfish kind of creature's like, oh yeah, Mr. Nimbus wants to like have a like three-way kind of shit with you. It's like, alright, cool. Because since Morty kind of fucked up the situation, Rick had sent Summer to like get the horn that's his power to kind of like stop him in case of scenarios. And evidently like Jerry and Beth have like a better sex life and have been watching porn together, because Summer's like, yeah, look at dick or whatnot, and this fell into their kind of thing as they get like hooked up with the whole thing with Mr. Nimbus. It's like, alright, let's kind of see where this goes. And it's like seeing them kind of like try and figure out if they're like essentially trying to chicken each other, if they're actually that open, or are they trying to do it because they think the other partner wants to do it. So Morty tries to have this like date with Jessica, and he's like getting on. He's like, hey, what do you want to watch? You want to watch a movie? You want to watch interdimensional cable? As he flips onto the interdimensional cable where it's Nintendo, not like the Nintendo 64, Nintendo 69, where this dude is like fucking a Nintendo console. It's like, hey, shit. But she heard stuff about wine, and Morty tries to go get some wine, and this scenario goes completely insane. So he goes in, gets the wine, and this one creature dude, Hoovy, he's got like a wife expecting as well, and he helps Morty take the wine into his dimension. Little does he know that there's a time dilation effect, and he gets back and it's like decades, and his son pretty much kills him because he thought that his father had abandoned them. And Morty's like, alright, cool. And he tries to take one of the wine bottles to Jessica, but of course Mr. Nimbus downs one and he's like, fuck, whatever. Fine, here you go. Tries to go back in and meets the son who's like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And he's like, God damn it. Trying to like get the wine and everything, and it's just escalating scenarios. He's like, oh yeah, sorry, I kind of have to go get it. Jessica's like, what the fuck's kind of going on here? So he keeps trying to go in and get the wine for them, but of course sometimes he has to send it to the Nimbus thing, and sometimes he gets it like broken because Jerry and Beth are like talking about like the whole potential theory with them and Mr. Nimbus. But each time he goes back, the dimension gets different, but they like build up different kind of defenses and everything. He goes back in with the wine, and the son's like, "Oh yeah, fuck you," because he's old, and his like kids didn't believe him, so they built this giant kind of fortress around it. And just seeing that Morty at first didn't want to go kind of like Rick Dick on this and be like a complete and utter asshole, but they keep like fucking with him, and he goes in at certain points, armed to the teeth, to kind of deal with what's going on, like this whole castle scenario, because he just wants to get the wine and like have his date with Jessica, which granted is selfish, but the thing is, if he had kind of like explained it and not like got into some weird kind of shit with them, that kind of would have helped. However, these motherfuckers have a hate hard on and just show that like they just keep building it and just teaching these successive generations to keep hating and fucking trying to kill the source, this source of their like anguish and everything. It's like sometimes you gotta learn how to let shit go. I mean, during the Middle Ages kind of part, he leaves back this like magnetic kind of glove kind of thing that can like levitate shit, and they just build like advanced tech to just like hate and destroying kind of shit. It's just like, you did a lot of cool shit. It's just like, listen, let's have contingency plans for in case this dude comes in and fucks some shit up, but let's not just fucking do stupid shit. But nope, they kind of just keep going natto, like fucking crazy, to the point where they just make fucking robot bodies and shit. And now granted, that's towards the end of the episode, because they get to a point where they try and like deep sea diver this motherfucker, send him in, and he's trying to like kill Morty and everything. What the fuck's up with that Nimbus dude? But Jessica tries to help his ass and stabs the dude. The thing goes kind of wonky, and she gets sucked into there, and like Morty's like, God damn it, I gotta have to deal with this. But he gets in, and at first is like, what's going on here? But then, because he sees like this gardener dude giving him like grapes, that's him, and he's like, what the fuck? But of course he got tricked. And I'm like, yeah, we were trying to figure out what's going on, especially with this kind of like floating chick dude, that they like put her in like this weird crystal shit, which was kind of reminiscent to what we'd seen at the beginning of the episode with the whole kind of Blade Morty and Rick. And he's like, I'm not having any of it. And the thing is, he like kicked him in the nads, and the thing is like, oh, why did I clone those? It's like, yep. Why would you do that? That kind of defeats some shit. But he's able to, he's like, listen, I've just learned from my grandpa that sometimes you gotta be an asshole. So just fucking help me out with this shit, and we're done. And he's able to get Jessica out. Nimbus and Rick almost kind of like came to a thing because they needed a fucking witness, and that witness got like pretty much killed by the the fucking Narnian descendant. And he's like, you know what? We used to be like freaking friends, but then we used to be kind of like more kind of nemesis. He's like, maybe I just didn't consider you a threat anymore to be my nemesis. Like, well, maybe I pretty much didn't want to see you as like this drunk shell of a man. And seeing them kind of almost work out their whole kind of thing going on. But the thing is, Morty and Jessica were trying to escape. Rick tries to help them, but he gets sucked in, and Rick's like, fine, I'll deal with this. And he tries to use some tech, but of course it's based on his tech, and his shit gets tripped out. I was like, oh shit. Because he said he was going to Deus Ex Machina this shit. But Mr. Nimbus pops up out of nowhere, saves them. They come back in, and Nimbus and Rick almost had that kind of like reconciliation before Summer pops up like, hey, I got the horn thing. And Rick's like, oh shit, fuck, just destroy it. And she's like, blow it, and she's blowing it, and of course it powers him up. He's like, why the fuck would you do that? And then he, like, calls the police with his, like, gyrating pelvis kind of thing. And Rick gets taken away as he's arrested. And the thing is, Morty also has his little moment with Jessica. She's like, I saw time differently. I've gone through an enlightenment and kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, I think we're just friends, Morty. She walks by, this dude kind of catcalls her, and she's like, I'm a time god! It's like, gee, oh god, that's not gonna have fucking repercussions. Oh god. And that's kind of where it ends out. So I kind of liked seeing Rick kind of deal with this kind of like insane situation, but I like the main focus of Morty and how he approached this scenario. Because at first, in the first couple seasons, you'd probably see Morty kind of trying to deal with this in a more kind of peaceful resolution. And he does. I think if he had more time, he would have tried to approach that a little bit better. But he went into asshole kind of Rick mode. Not full, because Rick would have fucking annihilated everyone within the vicinity, nuked the whole thing, and probably ended that like a couple steps ago. So at least Morty didn't go that full. But we see this kind of amalgamation of Morty trying to parse out how to deal with these kind of situations. It was really kind of nice to see that for his character growth. He even starts standing up more to Rick, be like, Rick, I haven't gone to like a full week of school in years, man. Fuck off with your shit. I need this. And it's kind of cool to see him trying to fight for his own self-interest. Now, granted, you always have to balance that out between doing what is good for you and being a selfish prick asshole. So it's kind of cool to see that kind of explored here with this whole Chronicles of Narnia kind of insanity shit going on. And then also seeing the kind of bits in the background, Summer trying to flaunt that, yeah, I'm the one that Rick trusts before fucking that up. And then Jerry and Beth kind of like getting back in touch with themselves. And then at the end of each episode having the stinger that they go and they have that three-way with Mr. Nimbus. So overall, I think this was a nice kind of episode to kind of bring us into the season, get up to the usual kind of Rick and Morty shenanigans that felt pretty balanced. And interestingly enough, having three stories that have nice time divided between them, which is hard to do in any kind of show, bar even doing a 30-minute one. But having it done to where you got your main story with what's going on with Morty's whole thing. Granted, having that tied in with Rick is kind of like the B plot, kind of helping balance out each other, with the C plot of Jerry and Beth, and then of course Summer in the background, kind of like doing her own kind of gag kind of shit, as that's tied in with the main kind of narrative. So I was really happy with this, and I can't wait to see where some of the other stuff goes, especially with the whole kind of Voltron kind of aspect one. I'm really looking forward to what they kind of do with that kind of thing. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.